Although yesterday was a long day, full of travel, we found ourselves this morning waking up at anchor at the top of the same island that we had started at. That is the tip of Cumberland Island. That is St. Andrew Sound. The next island over there is Jekyll Island. Fighting a little bit of a current right now. As soon as we get towards the other side, it should help us along. We had to go all the way out here and make a turn around this marker, according to the charts. That's where it shows the dotted line. That's the ICW line. Red marker there, green marker way out there. We are going through it. I got the tide against me. Nice. He's got the tide with him. I'm about to get it. Let's see what happens when I turn this corner.
Had it tight. It's at 9.
Look at that depth. Whew. Big drop off there. Probably real shoaly there, and that's why that marker's there. I love those aids to navigation. Imagine a time when there weren't these fancy little green and red markers to show you the way. An age when men sailed upon the sea in deep draft sailboats without the luxury of GPS or satellites. Yeah, I guess we got it pretty easy nowadays with these maps. They show us so many things. We even know when bridges are coming and how tall they are. And we drive motorboats with throttles. And there are marinas where we can fuel up. Yep, I suppose we got it pretty easy now. Although one thing we have in common with those folks from back then is that early in the morning, we're still greeted by that big ball of fire in the sky. Right. Beautiful. Sun is reflecting off of the mast of that sunken ship over there. Yeah. Start of another day officially. The actual beginning of this day started well before that big ball of fire came up in the sky, and that was because Mike and I had a long way to go. I can plot out our projected path on Google Earth. And yes, we could have went on the outside, but it would have taken us some time to get out and then to get back in, which would be about the same as the twisty-turny ICW path that we had planned on going. It would eventually take us to Blackbeard Creek, and then in, hopefully, to Dallas Bluff. This was going to be a course of about 60 miles. Now at about an average speed of 8 miles an hour, you're talking 7.5 hours of sitting at the helm with not a lot to see. Except, of course, those nice fancy beacons to the left and to the right, and markers and whatnot that keep us from going aground. Which is a good thing, because there's a lot of shallow spots along the way. Although it looks like a vast open area of water, there really wasn't a lot of places that we could just go freely. But along the way we saw some things that reminded me of home, both in Brooklyn and back in Florida. Trying to decide if that looks like the Verrazano Bridge or the Sunshine Skyway. A little more like the Skyway, I think. It's a pretty bridge. We're not going under that one though. We're going that way. As we traveled that way, or north, the sun started getting higher and higher in the sky, and so did the temperature. It was starting to skyrocket too. Fortunately, I was able to drop down these little pieces of canvas wherever in the helm I needed it, and put a little clamp on it here and here, and just like that, voila, I had some wonderful shade from the sun. That made traveling a lot more comfortable. And as we traveled along, we also saw some astonishing things, some of which we couldn't quite figure out. like this enormous structure in the distance.
That's they found it down. So that's going to lift up pretty much. I think that's what it is.
That thing was tremendous, whatever it was. And it had us puzzled because it was smack in the middle of an inlet.
That is a big thing. Whatever it is, it's very, very big. An enormous crane, it looks like. Wow.
See some amazing feats of mankind on the water. I later learned that this amazing feat was a result of an ill-fated car carrier. This giant vessel had been loaded incorrectly, tipped over, and then pushed up onto a sandbar just on the edge of the inlet. Then a giant crane was positioned over it, and they sliced it into pieces using a big giant chain. The story is astonishing. I'll leave a link to a story about what we just saw sitting there in St. Simon's Sound. Sister takes care of you. Well, the puppy dogs were unimpressed by all these amazing sights that we were seeing, and we left this site behind to continue up the ICW to where there was a fork in the road, so to speak. We took the starboard route to do something that we hadn't done before, which was to visit a fuel dock instead of jerry carrying our gas to our boats. The prices now are a lot worse than they were then, but then it was more expensive than we were used to. But this was a convenient spot and worth it. We would just back out, go back up the middle way, and continue, knowing that we wouldn't run out of gas. Alright, we're coming into a marina. We're going to get a little bit of fuel, just because it's questionable whether we can make it or not. And this will be the first time that we're getting fuel at a marina. So be it. We made it pretty far without having to do that. Should be an easy tie-up. We already called the marina. These yellow flies have been following me for miles. They're relentless. I killed a couple of them. Add them to my collection. Beginning of insanity. Next thing you know, I'll be having live ones on leashes, flying them around. That fuel dock is so wide open. I might just leave the dinghy where it's at. I think I can. When you turn around and you tie up to that dock, if you move forward enough, I can come in behind you nice and easy.
I copy. Looks like the gas is right near that building, best I can tell.
Raj, I shouldn't have to tie up my dinghy if you give me some space behind you. See the guy standing there?
No, I don't see him. Is he near the building?
Yeah, roger that. In front of the big white boat. Right at the bow.
Yeah, I'll give you plenty of room.
Come on, down. Let's go. Come on. Somebody to catch a line if you get a chance.
Yes, sir.
Not only was this one of the easiest dockings I had experienced, it was the easiest fuel fill-up. Looking at the gas gauge way over there. That's pretty good. Alright, now the port side. I don't want to fill it all the way up because old Katie ride's kind of heavy when I do that. Pump some gas under the barbecue. Make sure the barbecue's not on. This is a lot easier than doing it with jerry cans. That's a fact, Jack. And in record time, we were moving again. Okay, we're pulling away from the dock. Fueling was successful. Walking the dogs was successful. We'll go upstairs. Cool deal. Alright, good puppy dogs. This had all gone so smooth actually that I was starting to wonder about the jerry cans that we had been using up until this point. I wondered, was the stress worth the savings? Filling those jerry cans took time, and time is money, right? That place was very well laid out, easy to dock. Nice people. Dog walk was a little far, but kind of everything. At least the docking went smooth. Gotta love it. Bad news? There were a lot of miles ahead of us still. Good news, I had a way to entertain myself. Get your ass. Got another one. Burn. See you in hell. Swatting the flies was actually welcome, because after this bridge there wasn't a lot to see on this boring, twisty, turny part of the ICW. Lots of marsh grass. And not much else, as far as the eye could see. So we just made mile after mile, and at one point we actually saw that there were indeed some people living here, in the middle of nowhere. We figured they must have had very few possessions. Can you imagine that? Little houses out here on these islands, amongst the marsh and the flies.
Like a whole little community, dude.
Yeah, house, 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 house. They all got dots.
They got lake fit.
I think there was one on that island. It's kind of neat, but I mean, flies are ridiculous. They are as thick as the love bugs get. It's, I can only imagine it's the same over there. And I see everybody's got screens on their porches. Living in a house like this must be a roller coaster of emotions. Nightmarish when the yellow flies are around and the hurricanes, but absolutely amazing on starry nights and beautiful mornings. Kind of like boating, I guess. Buy a boat, they said. It would be fun, they said. Get him, boy, get him. He's like, screw this, I'm out. Holy crap. I'm gonna have to fog this boat. Okay, we're almost at Dallas Bluff, where we're going to be spending quite a while. We made almost 100 miles in the past 2 days. And there's the radar. Oh dear. Yeah. It looks very similar to yesterday. So, which means we can either get clobbered or spared. Don't know which. Good times ahead of me. He's taking the lead because my depth finder isn't always working. Right now it's doing good. You can see there's weather out there. It's not the worst weather I've seen by any stretch, but you know, no fun to drive in the rain. What's good is, although we don't know the waterway, the owner of the marina, or the owner's son or something, Mike's been coordinating with him, is taking a boat out to meet us and guide us back in. And he's been communicating with Mike quite a bit. He's happy to see us. He's been texting us and kind of going above and beyond, I think. It's nice. It's nice to feel welcome, you know, when you're not from a spot. So, something to tells me I'm about to make a new friend. We must be out there somewhere. Golly, it's gray and gloomy. Our friend Dell was going to be coming from up ahead in a small skiff because he insisted that he show us the way in through this little cut, which according to him was the only way in. It was a little bit discomforting when you look at the charts, which he said was wrong, but it was comfortable to know that we would have somebody with local knowledge, and that soon we would be at a place where we would be able to just chill and hang out for probably a week.
Michael Steen, this is Dale Turner from Dallas Bluff. I'm in that little boat right in front of y'all. Copy that. Why don't we switch over to channel 74? Copy that. Y'all made great time today, Michael. On 74.
Captain Kontiki, Michael has a tendency to be very lucky.
I'd rather be lucky than good.
Anytime.
Let's see, yeah, you do have a little top there. You probably get a little better top than mine. That's bet we're going to get wet.
We aren't that far from home. I think we're going to make it. Kind of follow me. We want to ease over, kind of favor the right side of the river a little bit. Copy. That green marker that you can almost see up ahead is number 3, and that's we're gonna pass just a little bit to the inside of that one.
Copy that.
I'm showing about 17 feet of water where I am right now. So we're going to keep that marker on our left, and just past it, it's almost invisible, but there's a little red buoy just past it, and we're going to pass that on our left and go into the cutout. We could get as low as 6 or 7.
Well, just drop the cord.
Yeah, it shouldn't get any lower than that. I'm showing 9 right here. This whole area kind of shifted around when Irma came through a few years back. A lot of sand moved around. There's kind of a shiny house in front of us and to the starboard, and just a little bit to the left of that you'll see a little red buoy, and that's where we're heading next.
I think we're going to get Bluff and that worst part moving on to our tower.
You never know about the weather here. Sometimes it bears right down on us and then it just veers away at the last minute.
I was telling Marty we almost deserve to get wet because it's been doing that to us every day here. We've been very blessed about it.
Well, I had to go to the airport to get somebody last night, and it 20 miles north of us, north of Dallas Bluff, it was pouring rain. I mean, just pouring. Cars were flashing their lights on the interstate, pulling over. Never rained a drop at Dallas Bluff. I'm showing 17 feet of water here. Even though we're looking at a red buoy up ahead, we're going to pass it to the inside. This is the cutout, and this river that we're turning into is the Roro, B-R-O-R-O, Roro River. And if you look at your chart, you're going to get nervous because it's going to say there's only a couple of feet of water going through the cutout, but actually we'll have 15 to 20 feet of water going through there. An interesting little place.
This looks like a treacherous place to get to without that local knowledge.
You can tell by the oyster shell mounds on the left of us and all the mud that you're seeing up farther up the river. That's probably not a good idea to take a big boat any farther up this river than where we are right now. There's another way to get into it from the other end.
Yeah, and I can see at high tide it'd be much easier for sure.
Well, those oyster shells are pretty big. Even after you can't see them, they're still there.
Oh yeah.
cut right here. And what y'all are going to do is we're going to cross all the way across the river, and we're going to hug the marsh on the other side of the river. So there's a real big sandbar on the left. But so we're going to cross the river 2/3 of the way down the cutout, and then go all the way across to along that marsh there.
Copy that. Good water where you are.
14.5 feet.
Oh, yeah.
20 feet now.
Pretty amazing.
That really is, and our tides are big here. So on a neat tide, on a 1/4 or 3/4 moon, it might be 6 or 7 feet between high and low water, but on a full moon or new moon, we could be looking at 8 to 10 feet, depending on the wind. So this little dock in front of us, but when we get up to this little dock, what we're going to do is cross the river hard to the left, and we're going to follow the marsh. See that red roofed house out there? To the left, we're going to kind of aim towards that. And so it's kind of like one side of the river to the other, but that's how you do it.
Yep.
If we come farther up, in other words, not taking the cutout, you never made it. So this is how a lot of boats, actually get in there. But high tide, you get a different perspective, but this is how it works.
Yeah, so this is one of the harder rains that we've had since the trip began.
I got a couple of people that should be standing by to help us at the dock.
It's much more pleasant having the isinglass here. That is for sure.
Yeah, back up. All right, great.
So the sandbar to our right is called Contentment Beach, because it's right across from Contentment Bluff. And that is the social arena in the summer. They can be, on 4th of July, there'll be 80 boats over there, and everybody will be drinking beer and having fun.
Yeah.
This is Ceplo Woods here that I'm passing this time. Former Georgia Governor George Busby, from what I understand, used to have a double wide trailer up there, so he's all right.
Yep.
Okay, we are getting pretty close. You can almost see, you may be able to see if you look ahead to the right, some mast sticking above the docks and the marsh there, and those are on our dock. So the plan up here, this long and right now empty dock, this is Contentment, and when you get to the end of that dock, you make a hard right and go across the river to the marsh on the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to start making my turn right here. You still there, Mike? I'm still having trouble hearing you. And for some reason, I could hear you then, but the volume was way down.
I can't hear
What
you
is what?
either.
Hey, for some reason, Mike, I can just barely hear you.
Maybe try your handheld mic on 7.4.
Just
Like the water got in my other one.
okay, that's much better, much better. There's a huge sandbar kind of in the middle here. That's why we're cutting over. You'll be able to see it, but what your chart is going to show you is that you're in the marsh, and you're obviously not in the marsh. You'll be in about 18, 19 feet of water.
Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately.
So past that dock with the green top there, you'll see a white fence, and that's my fence. That's the house Sue and I just by the bugs.
Yeah.
My wife took some sugar water and put it in a jar and put some holes in the top of the jar with a can opener. You wouldn't believe how many flies flew into that last summer. They'll chase you from your car to the house. And real estate agents don't even try to sell land there for houses at certain times of the year. And actually, between Mother's Day and Father's Day is the worst time. So we're going to put you all on the outside. And what you might want to do is go past first and get a good look at it. There's plenty of room right now. We just had that 65-footer leave, so there's plenty of room. The tide, I don't think, is moving much at all right now. It's pretty low. And I've got a couple of people who are going to meet us when we get in there. So I'm going to speed up in a minute. Let's get y'all past these two docks in front of us here, and then I'm going to get to the dock, and Jacob and I are going to get out and be able to give you a hand also. High copy. Yeah, I'm set up for starboard side dock. Seems like it.
Tide looks like it's running against the bank a little bit. And it's going from my forward to stern, so I guess that's going out. Maybe I'm seeing things.
10-4. We'll know in a minute. So I'm not sure if the water's still going out or not. I don't think the tide's going to be much of a factor, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
So Jeffrey and Linda are the couple walking down the dock. You probably a little far away to see them, but they're a very nice couple. Jeffrey's from Scotland, and Linda was a Methodist minister in Scotland. She's from the States, but she was there 25 years or so, and she brought Jeffrey back with her when she came home.
All right, then.
I think we're being welcomed.
Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Yeah, there's a lot of space.
The tide's still moving, fairly good, more than I thought, but it's not going to be too strong. It is moving out.
Yeah, I'm going to do a port side tie-up because of that.
10-4, that's probably the best way.
A little bit wet.
I had the boat coasting forward just a little bit, which gave me enough time to run down, untie the line from the starboard side, and at least get it ready to throw to somebody who might be waiting on the dock.
Wind and the current in my face, that forward line is going to be the most important for sure. There is plenty of space. I like this brakes though very nicely.
Okay, Marty, we're ready for you.
I'll be right there.
Okay, do you need to put fenders down, or how are you going to do this?
If I take a little paint off, it won't hurt.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, hello there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. Nice and easy. Thank you, everybody.
That's good. Electricity right here.
Cool.
Secondary here.
Thanks again.
Welcome to Dallas Bluff.
Thank you, sir. You really went above and beyond, man.
Well,
All right.
yeah, already told. No running on the dot. Be safe.
No running.
Well,
I yell that at the dogs all the time. They never listen.
they listen to Mom. Good. Jeffrey and Linda. This is Marty.
Good to meet you, Marty.
Same here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
They are at the big boat on the end on the right. And,
Awesome. How long you guys live aboard? A long time?
Yes, yeah. It's been a long, long way.
yeah, they came from
From Brunswick.
yeah. Brunswick, Jekyll, Dallas Bluff. We're keeping them.
He brought a fly with him. I seen him. I think I got him.
Oh, good.
I fed the last one to Larry the lizard. I got a lizard with me since camp.
I told him normally people have parrots, but he's got
See, you got the screen.
You'll need a screen. I mean, your tide runs at 4 or 5 knots here. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get my fenders out and all that.
Okay. Good luck.